EOB, you're getting fired by your client for using ChatGPT.
Do you use ChatGPT for your agency clients?
I do until my clients started noticing.
Oh, so they knew it was AI.
Every single time, the AI voice is so obvious.
So what do you use now then?
I use this AI tool called Play. It's so much better. Here, check it out. Right. So it learns each client's unique brand voice.
Okay.
So when I create content, it sounds exactly like that. Also handles.
Start it now.
Yep. Hi everyone, sorry we're a bit late. If you're out there, just let us know, tell us where you're from, and let's get chatting. Just give it a little while, just see whether anybody actually shows up or not. My name's Jeff, by the way. If you stumbled across our little live stream here, I do glass fusing and does jewellery. And we've got a little chat going this morning about glass fusing. In particular, we'll be talking about enamelling. Unfortunately, I didn't send out a message to remind everybody that we're going to be here. So we might be here all alone. If there's anybody there, please let us know, and so we can move on. Got a few pieces here to show you today.
Oh, Jill's here.
And Jill. Hi Jill. How are you? Salisbury. Okay. I can't remember. Where's NC? North Carolina? Nova Scotia? I can't remember. Hi Jill, how are you? Thanks for joining us. You might be the only one. Sadly, I forgot to send out a message or a reminder about this. So, getting a bit slack in my old age, unfortunately. We'll just wait a little while, Jill, see if anybody else wants to show up. And then we'll get into it. So you might be our only audience. While we're waiting, do you want to just tell us what you are doing with the glass fuse, and if you are doing anything with glass fusing? No? There we go. I think there's a delay. We said this last time.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. I was right the first time. Nova Scotia would be an S, wouldn't it? Yeah. Okay. Jill, what are you actually doing with the glass fusing? Are you doing anything in particular, or just like me, try anything whenever, whatever you feel like, which is pretty much what I do. I don't have a particular style that I follow or do anything like that. So a lot of people do, I've noticed. Powder printer. Okay.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Haven't tried that one, but sounds interesting. Yeah, how does powder printing work? I don't remember. I can't say I've ever seen it. Probably have, just don't remember. I'm a S. What's an S?
she's hit into him. Oh, he's
Hi,
Ryan.
Ryan. How are you? Arizona, I would say AZ is. Forgive us, we're from Australia, so we're always trying to work out these little abbreviations. Topic today is enamelling. Jill's a novice, okay. I still feel like a novice. Anyway, it still always surprises me what happens when I start a project. I'm going to talk about enamelling and just work through a couple of things about enamelling. And I'll show you a couple of examples what I've done. I can't say I've done a huge amount of enamelling. I would like to do more than I have done, but what I have done I'm very happy with, actually, and I'd like to do some more. And we've got a art exhibition here every year at one of the local universities, and I've been putting pieces in there for a few years, and the pieces that seem to sell are not so much enamelling, but it's using a technique that I will show you here, and which surprised me. So this year I wanted to put some pieces in, and I was thinking about including some enamelling with that. Hi Ryan, how are you?
No, you did say hello to me.
Oh, I did say
You're just
Ryan.
confirming it's
Getting old, what else can I say? It moved in the corner of my eye here, so where was I? Oh yeah, these pieces for the local university here, or college. I want to try and use some enamelling because I like the effect, and I will show you in a minute. And I'm hopefully people will appreciate that. Funny thing is, last couple of years, the pieces that I've sold there have all been around cats, which is interesting. So we must have a lot of cat lovers in Toowoomba. So interesting. Anyway, I might get on with this because I'm not real sure how many people are going to show up, and it is 7:10 already. So, enamelling. My enamels, you may be, if you've used enamels, you might know more as powders that you have to mix up yourself. The enamels that I use, I buy in little bottles just like that. They're already mixed up. You do have to keep shaking them because they do settle out. But they're already mixed up. I don't have to worry about it. They're not branded because the supplier that I get them from mix them themselves, and they won't tell me what they use as a carrier for the enamel. Tried to get it out of them, but they won't tell me. But it seems to work fine with what's the name of that oil? Hang on a minute. Lavender oil. So lavender oil seems to work well for me. Every now and then these dried out, so I've had to reconstitute them, so to speak. So that's what I'm using. And this piece, I haven't taken any photos, so I've been slack a bit. You can see the birds around the edge of that piece. They've all been hand painted on, just using small brushes, obviously with black enamel. So that was one of the first pieces I ever did with enamel. It is painted on the inside as well. Ignore that. I'm not a great artist as far as that is concerned. It was meant to be mountains. I wouldn't call them mountains, but anyway, that was painted on as with enamel as well. This was all done obviously before it was slumped. So that was the first little, get my words right, my first little attempt at enamelling. And I'm quite happy with that. It actually worked out. I stole the design from just an illustration that I got off of the net. But it could have had more colour in it. I think it would have looked, well, I don't know, silhouette's all right. I thought it might look a bit better with a little bit of colour in it. Excuse me if I shake this one, I've got a bit of a shake going on. From that, the other thing that I want to show you is these, which are decals made with a fusible decal that you can print, and you print using a laser printer. And the laser printer, special laser printer, or at least special toner for the laser printer, contains iron. Not sure whether you're familiar with these. It contains iron. So when you put the decal on and you fuse it, obviously the binder burns off, and the iron in the toner oxidizes, which gives you that red, rusty, sepia sort of look. So these are the sorts of things. That is a graphic that I've sort of made up. I like that almost washed out look, I suppose. Just that faint, subtle look to everything. I don't like the really sharp look so much, but that's that. Why this is important is I'm about to show you a piece that combines the enamel and this as well. So if you want to ask questions about that, if you haven't seen that before, just ask when we get to the little Q&A. And then from there on, you see that piece there. Now, this obviously isn't enamel over this side. Get myself right here. But the flower there was done with one of those fusible decals, and then I used enamel over the top of it. I wasn't trying to be precise with the enamel. I wanted it to look a bit more like a watercolor effect, and it sort of worked. The red was probably a little bit too thick, so the image hasn't shown through as much as I would have liked to. I could have put it on again over the top, which I considered, but I don't know, I didn't mind that, so I left it as it is. So what I'm getting at anyway is that besides using enamel on this sort of thing, and potentially on you know, jewelry, which you've seen I'm sure a lot, you can use it on something like this and colour it. And if, for example, a young girl here had been looking directly at the camera, a highlight would have been to highlight her eyes, or maybe little touches in the hair, which would look really nice. I've got a piece like that, unfortunately, and a few of the pieces sold last year at the
art exhibition.
Yep. So I don't have those, unfortunately. So that's what I want to talk about, and just a couple of little things about the enamel. One good thing about the enamel is, and I would have done this on here, if you're a bit shaky like me and you go over the lines, you can just, once it's dried, this is, you can come back just with a little brush or a little sharp knife or something like that and just scrape away to get your detail in here. Just scrape away the edges to get nice sharp edges with it. You can also just scrape out parts of it to give it like a bit of a sgraffito look or something like that. So it's don't be worried too much about being very precise with the enamel. If you could lay glass powder, fine frets over that, get different values. I'm sure you could actually. I would I'm just thinking about that. It is going to, I did have another piece up there which I should have brought down, which I did something similar to that. It was an eye, and I think I used some enamel on that as well as glass frit. It was sort of wasn't real fine. It was a medium sort of coarse frit, and the effect that I got out of that was a bit like looking at an eye. What happened is the glass melted down into the enamel underneath and gave you a little bit of transparency on top of the enamel. Yeah, experimenting is the way to go. Nothing like, I call them tests. I probably do a lot more tests than I do final pieces. And they usually surprise you. End up actually quite nice pieces, some of them, a bit more than a test. But glass powder, yeah, I would try it. Now I've seen artists use what's his name? Hunt, I think his name is. His last name is Hunt. He does stained glass, and he does glass paintings, and it's absolutely amazing. He uses something like the black enamels, and he draws the image and then overlays that with frit and other transparent glass and gets amazing effects. So if you have a look around, I'm pretty sure his name was Hunt, and there are quite a few other artists around. You might remember there's a video out, and I can't remember the name of the video. It goes through the whole process of a couple of artists creating a huge stained glass window for a church over there. Absolutely amazing. That's pretty much what they were doing from memory, is taking the glass, creating an image on the glass, and then overlaying that with frit and confetti and all sorts of things like that. I don't know the exact process. They do have classes. If you're interested, might be a good place to go looking. But yeah, I don't know the exact technique to all of that. But just from what it looks like, that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, nice.
Ah, you've seen that.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing video. If you haven't seen it there, Jill, go and have a look if you can find it. That'll give you a lot of inspiration.
Oh, Jerry's on. Hi,
Hi,
Jerry.
How's it over in Canada? I don't know about you, but it's starting to get cold over here, and I imagine it's starting to get hot over there. Holy frick, that's it.
Great.
That was absolutely amazing, that. Thoroughly enjoyed watching that, and I think it's great inspiration. I'd love to be able to do that. Keep thinking about it, just haven't got there. I don't.
Yeah, it was a bullseye course.
Yeah,
It was.
well worth doing, but
Yeah.
I haven't done it. What was I going to say?
Sorry.
Oh yeah, I think to do that sort of thing, you need quite a selection of frit and different coloured glass and confetti and that sort of thing. I don't have a huge selection of frit here. It's though I suppose you could go monocolour if you wanted to. I've done that monocolour in the past when I used to do acrylic painting on canvases. Used basic. I'd done a few monocolour pieces there. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Jerry. It's been interesting over here since Jerry is somebody that we know from Canada, and it's been interesting since you went back. Rain, rain, rain. We had a cyclone here,
Yeah, they were here.
and yeah, I know.
Oh, sorry.
And Jerry unfortunately caught it just before she went back to Canada. So that would have been an experience, an Australian cyclone. Unfortunately, it wasn't so bad down here because we're further south in Queensland and we rarely get them. It's been a long time since we've had one come down this far. But since then, it has been rain, 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 rain and more rain. Grass keeps growing, and the garden is not looking so good because we can't get out there and do anything much. Anyway, I'm getting off track here. So, does anybody else have any questions? Jerry, we were just talking about enameling, using these things and combining it with something like that and ending up with something like that, which is basically a fusible decal that's been coloured with enamel. And Ryan, what are you doing in glass fusing? What any particular techniques you're using?
He said that he's doing that powder printing, so
Yeah.
I wonder how he's applying it.
Hey, nobody got any questions? Oh, here we go. Jerry, lots of rain here too, but spring temps and high teens. Okay. Spring. I can't remember what a decent spring was like, to tell you the truth. Our last spring was rain, rain, and more rain from memory. Had a lot of rain. lot of wasn't it? So Jill's seen the
Oh, here,
show.
Ryan.
Ryan
I've been
Thanks,
doing techniques.
and David L.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Have you used the enamel and stencils? No, I haven't. No, I haven't used it with stencils. I'm probably a bit more of a hand-drawn person rather than stencils.
It's like a tapestry with
Same
frit.
tapestry with fruit.
Wow,
Sounds very interesting.
it's a really fun technique. Yeah, I bet it is.
I'll have to look that one up. Is there any particular artist that you follow or that you've seen doing this? And using it with stencils. Well, are these cut-out stencils? Do you cut them out yourself, or are they sort of basically anything? I suppose you can buy stencils for this as well. Or you could use anything for stencils. What about kids' stencils?
Yeah.
Don't need to make stands, can't figure out the sizes. Okay. David O'Connor, okay. I know, you said it before. Just forgive me. Jerry asked about stands. I think you're talking about those stands I made out of glass. Sizing of those depends upon the piece that you want to use to sit on it. The ones I've got are only, what's that, maybe 150 at the biggest, with a couple of smaller ones which are about 100, which is 4 inches. 4 inches, 6 inches. I might use a large bowl to put the curve in those. Oh, okay, so that's that. And Jill says purchase stencils. Yeah, maybe you should try cutting them out. Get yourself a Cricut machine. Anne's got a Cricut machine. And she uses it to make cards and that sort of thing, but we've also used it for other purposes, and it's great for doing just that, cutting out stencils. Now I've used it to cut out decal paper. You can buy decal paper in a solid colour, and I've used it to cut out little shapes of that and then put those on glass. So a little Cricut machine can be very useful when it comes to that sort of thing.
Definitely.
I will look up David L. Carr. I'm sure I can find his website. And Jerry, you've cut so much glass, but none of the right size. I think I've done, I did a video about that stand, and I think there's some information on that about cutting the glass to form that border before you slump it. So just have a look at that. I love that symbol. Not so much that one. So what else can I talk about? Any other questions? Please, don't leave me hanging.
So what sort of things has Ryan done with this technique?
Yeah, I wish you could show us
Yeah,
what
it would
you've
be
been
lovely
doing,
if
but
we could see what you
but
did.
I don't think you can upload a photo. I'm not too sure, but I don't know from your end whether you can upload a photo or not. I don't think so.
Oh,
Jessie, hi Jessie. Welcome to the chat.
she likes
Jessie
using
uses
the
the Cricut machine.
Yeah.
Are you using it for doing things like cutting out the decal paper or potentially stencils like we were talking about just before? Jill does the stencils. Yes, can mix the colours. I do it a little bit at a time. I do have spare bottles where I could literally take some out of each bottle and mix it up. but I'd rather do it on the palette. I'd rather just get the brush and just mix it on the palette before I use it. And they mix very well, actually, much like just normal paint. Can you layer it? I'm assuming what you mean by that is fusing one layer on and then putting some more over the top and layering it. Yes, you can. And you can get some really good effects doing that as well. I don't know whether you can get transparent. Actually, you can get transparent in the powder form. I know that for sure.
Yep.
My supplier doesn't have these in transparent. They just have these, and that's all they've got. We do have some powder form here that I don't think I've got around to using it yet, but I should. Hopefully I'll do something with that in the future. There's something I was going to say. You couldn't layer these dry, that's right, because when they dry they go rather powdery, so you wouldn't be able to then layer something over the top of that without it blending in. But once it's fired on, and these will fire on at a reasonably low temperature in the low 700s, but I think to cure them properly you have to go to much higher. I'd go up to sort of 770, 780, something like that. And I'm talking C here. Don't ask me to convert it into Fahrenheit because I'm not absolutely sure. Yeah, layering is a good way to go because you do get a lot of good effects with that. Jessie says she can use a cricket to make pattern pieces to cut glass pieces. Yep, sounds like a good idea.
Yep.
Do you do that on something like a ring saw, which would be a good idea? I've glued pieces, and I've just glued paper basically directly onto pieces. So I've got a glue here, the spray glue that I use. Take the cut pieces, glue them onto the glass, and then go over to the ring saw and cut them out on the ring saw. And the paper comes off easy before you fire it, by the way. The glue just gives way quite easy. Detailing, like detailing for layers. Do you mean layers of glass or layers of enamel just on the top? If you mean layers of glass, I've done that, where I have painted on clear glass, fused it, put another layer of glass over it, painted on that, fused it down, and you get a layering effect. If it's on a backing, and I think I'll probably use a colour backing of some sort, and then put enamel on it, fused it, another layer of glass, enamel on the top of that, and you can get an interesting depth to the piece because you've got these multiple layers of colour. I've also done that with just decals, put a decal on it. In fact, I think I've also done it and not fused it, just put the decal on it, layered it over the top, and put another decal on, and it's interesting effect because you get those layers in the glass. Makes a thicker piece, but and don't melt it down because it'll spread out and ruin the shape you're trying to achieve. So there's something else I was going to say about these. I can't remember what it was now. Jessie, sometimes I use ring saw, but mostly just with the colour. Movable vinyl, stick it to the glass size. Yep, good idea. The Cricut machine will cut the vinyl, no worries at all, as you said. And we just, I don't know about you, but you can buy the vinyl for the Cricut, which is specifically for the Cricut, but you can cut just normal kitchen vinyl.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a big thing here once where you'd stick it down on your shelves in your cupboards rather than just having the timbers, so you'd stick it down on those. I think it's gone out of style now because it just ends up looking horrible eventually. But you can buy it a lot cheaper than the ones that you buy in the suppliers for all the Cricut machine, and it'll do the same job. It's a very interesting, actually, that Jesse, that you say that, because we've had a few questions over the years about how to keep a design on glass when you're cutting it and the water just washes off. I've used a few different methods to do that. I've tried different markers which have been suggested, and they've never been successful. They've always washed off to a certain amount. You may have seen me do it in a video where I've used a marker and then stuck clear sticky tape over the top. And that works quite well. It does eventually wash off with the water, but it's generally got me right through all the cut, and hasn't been a real big problem. It does tend to get caught up in the blade a little bit, but I haven't found it a real big problem, just a little bit more of a clean up when you're cleaning the saw up later on. So vinyl, I suspect, would probably do something similar. You'll get little bits of vinyl caught up in the blade on the ring saw and pulled up around the pulley wheels and everything else like that. But it certainly would be a good way to doing it. I haven't got the spray glue that I've got here, but I've also just used straight paper and a spray, sprayed the glass, stuck the design on that, and then cut around that, and that works quite well as well. And that works a little bit better than the sticky tape. It does eventually come off. You just when you're finished, you just take it over to the water and rub it under the water, and it all comes off, and then just make sure your glass is nice and clean. But it's just a spray
Adhesive.
Yeah, spray adhesive. I can't remember the name, but you probably can't even get it in over in the States anyway, I wouldn't think. Everything's different, unfortunately. But the vinyl is a good idea. So if you haven't got a Cricut machine and you want to try a lot of things with stencils and making your own stencils and making your own decals, Cricut machine's a good way to go. It gives you a lot of flexibility as far as cutting them.
Jerry.
Lovely stuff. Jerry, what are you doing? I mean, as far as, I don't mean right now. I mean, what are you doing as far as Glass Fusion's doing? Have you been doing anything?
Rose has just come
Hi,
on.
Rose, Milwaukee. Markers work well. I don't know them. And if it's anything like a lot of other things that have been suggested to me, probably can't get them here. There's a couple of others that have been suggested and I've hunted around and can't find them in Australia. The chapstick trick, I've tried that, didn't work for me. But boy, did it make a mess. It took a while to get it off the glass. So that might be just the chapstick I was using. Canadian flags for some catches. Okay, so Jerry's making lots of Canadian flags.
For sun catchers.
Yeah. And garden art. Okay. Don't do many, as you know. Don't do many sun catchers or anything like that. So any other questions? We won't go too long today. I don't know how long we've been going, so we won't go too long today. Last time I think we overstayed our welcome. I think we went well over the hour or more. So I'm sorry, we should have had more people here. I didn't send out that warning, not warning, reminder, warning. Maybe warning is correct anyway.
Message.
Yeah, I didn't send out the message that I should have sent out. Any other questions? Come on, tell me. Don't leave me hanging. Oh, how about I hand it over to Anne?
Jerry.
Should have got her to bring down some of her jewellery work, and we could have talked about that as well. We've got some, she's
Jerry.
got something on here. Got a piece on here today.
difference.
Is that dichroic? What is it?
Yeah, no.
Oh yes, that's a blue.
Just a blue glass,
dichroic
but
cab.
you can't really see it.
And no, light's not very good. Unfortunately, our light's not very good. So we need a couple of those big lights out here to put a bit of light on the subject. But it is it's a dichroic cab. All the important people are here. Of course, I agree totally.
Jerry
this is
said she took a hammer.
to a big dish I didn't like this one. Felt like they were doing that a few times.
Good way to release your frustration.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you know what that should end up as. Take a hammer to smash it up and then remelt it into a like a pattern bar or something like that. And then put it through a drop vase. Looks great with all those colours and the streaks and so forth.
How is that set? I did a silver setting. It's a claw, a prong setting with a. I've got it. It's hard to explain.
It's basically Anne makes the back shape of the cabochon and then solders on claws. And
so, if I can get it near the camera, I'll show. Can you sort of see that?
Yep.
So I've
See
done
that?
a bail, and I've done the claw. I basically shaped wire around to set it in.
And she's also done somewhere a solid backing.
Yep.
Just a solid silver. That's still in silver. But that uses less silver and makes the piece a little bit more affordable, I suppose. But you can also do it in a normal bezel. You can make a bezel up around there and push them in. The ones that I cut, which I don't have any here, but I do hand cut them, and there are videos on the channel about that, because these cabs that come out of the kiln, they have a high side on them. So if your claws are fine, but if you're doing a bezel, you've got to really have a really high side bezel to be able to push over the curve of the cab to keep it in place. So I hand cut them so they have a more traditional cabochon shape. So you don't need such a high bezel to push over to hold the cab in place. Yeah, it's a nice deep blue. A lot of the others we have. Actually, hang on a minute. While we're on the subject, I can get something.
Oh, it's good that you've been working on cabs, because if you combine it with doing a bit of, I mean, even if you don't make the silver jewellery yourself, you can purchase bales and that you could set them in.
I'll just show you some. A lot of these cabs aren't made just by stacking a few small pieces together. I will typically it's a big piece of a dichro that I use, and I cut pieces out of it and then take it over and hand grind it into shape and then fire polish it. So that's what I do, rather than just stacking a few pieces of glass together and then fusing it and letting it round off itself. Because if I want to cut it and make it to a particular size, it's better, I find it better to make a slab like that and then cut it out to the shape I want and then shape it on the grinding wheels. And that's just done with layering of dichro. And that one is done using not a big piece of dichro, but small pieces of dichro, black backing with the small pieces of dichro on clear, obviously with the dichro down. And if you stack little small pieces around, you get little layers in the top clear part. That is just a single sheet of dichro. Again, that's on black. You can't really see it there. But there's a black base with dichro on clear face down. That's typically how we've made these. That one there is just straight out of the kiln. That's just been stacked. But, that's basically the process I use. Yes, cut it with a ring saw. Couldn't do it without a ring saw. Well, you could, but it'd be painful. You're going to have to try and nibble off all the edges to try and get it down to shape. But the final grinding to the shape is done on grinding wheels. They're like lapidary wheels. In fact, mine are. They're old lapidary wheels where in lapidary wheels you go through the different grades, different wheels, and you get your shape and you refine the surface going through the different grades of wheel. You can use wet and dry sandpaper, and with gemstones, with semi-precious gemstones generally is what you use when you're doing cabochons. You would go right through and polish it on something like cerium oxide. With what I do, I take that through to about a 360, 320 grit, and get a nice shape on it, and then I put it in the kiln and fire polish it in the kiln, and just enough to get a nice gloss over the top, but retain the shape, so it retains that that nice shape, so you get so you can use a low bezel to hold it in place.
Rose, that if you've got something that puts a groove in your glass, that's really good, because especially if you're doing wire wrapping, because with the glass it's really hard to get things to grip it, because it's so smooth and slippery that it's really hard to keep it, hold it and do your work around it. So because you've got the groove, that'll make it so much easier, and I hope it works for you, because I'm sure you'll turn out beautiful work with it. And the moulding, I think that'll be a great idea too.
Yeah, my little grinder here, I managed to fix. You've probably seen it in the video where I got a bit frustrated with it. That has a bit on it as well that'll do that grooving around the edge. If you didn't see that video about that grinder, it just simply stopped working. Wouldn't turn, sit there humming, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. Spoke to a couple of people, and of course they were going to charge me heaps to just to have a look at it and figure out what the problem was. In the end, I pulled it apart myself, took the armature out and everything, took it out of that, and cleaned it off, put it back in, and away it went. So if your grinder decides to just sit there humming, the good clue is don't think it's had it. Get somebody to open it up, because I think what happened is there was a very small piece of it wouldn't have been glass, it was probably oxidized, and a little bit of rust or something in there, and because there's so very small tolerance between that and the windings and that, it was enough to just stop it from turning. Molds are expensive. Make your own.
We've also gone into I'm not sure what you call them where you are, but we call them op shops or second-hand shops, and we've picked up different things with shapes that Jeff's used in the kiln for things.
Yeah.
That might be an idea too.
Jesse's asking about making a wave shape with stainless steel. It will absolutely work. I'll just grab something and show you.
Yeah, I honestly think that simple wire wrapping is the better, unless you want to make an art statement, Rose. I think simple wiring is the best, because you don't want to take it away from your glass piece, your cab. So I think definitely just a simple wrap.
Yeah. Stainless steel sheet. That's exactly what this is. I just went to a local sheet metal place, and engineering it was, and they had a lot of offcuts of steel. I asked them for a high quality stainless, and they bent it into that shape for me. And that's sprayed with boron nitride. That's one of my favourite moulds. I mean, it's hardly a mould, but it just gives a really nice, pleasant curve to things. And I've tried doing this myself. Doesn't work. You can't get those nice curves, but if you can get somebody locally here, or locally where you are, I should say, I'm sure they could make that shape for you. No problems at all. You see that's got a couple of little feet on it on the side there, just so it sits well in the kiln. So you just do the same sort of thing. Instead of a curve, you just get them to put whatever shape you want in it, and turn it over, give it that little foot to sit on, and spray with boron nitride. Just clean it well before you spray it with boron nitride. Make sure you get off any grease or anything like that's on it. And in fact, put it through a cycle in the kiln just on its own before you put the boron nitride in. Just make sure it burns off all of any oils or anything like that that are on it.
It's good to see that you're trying to find out where you can buy things yourselves in the area that you are. Unfortunately, we can't give you that advice.
So just, Rose is saying she's got a stainless steel mould. Ross has asked, Jessie is asking where she got it from. Rose, I don't remember, sorry, maybe DNL or seen. Yeah. I don't know all the suppliers over there, so I can't give any advice on that. Yeah, I'm sure there are many ways of making moulds. I'm trying to get somebody, hang on, I'll just get this out of the way. I've been trying to encourage somebody at our local pottery club to work with me on doing a few things. And we do have a lady here just around the street here, but unfortunately I think she's not into it so much anymore. But I've been trying to encourage somebody to work with me and collaborate with me. I still have my old pottery wheel here. In fact, we still have some clay here, and to help us create some custom moulds. Only have to be fired to bisque, but so far I just can't get them motivated enough to do it. But make your own. I reckon that's a good idea, to make your own. And I'm sure it wouldn't cost that much to get it fired in with a batch at your local pottery club.
There's a new person, it's D.
Hi D, how are you? Welcome to the chat. Use potter's clay to make your own. Yep. Yep. Especially if you got one that's a good friend. I'm not going to charge you a fortune. Look, there are so many. I do have quite a selection of purchased moulds here, but they were things I purchased years ago.
Yeah, when we first started.
Yeah, when I first started, because it was the simplest way to go. And I honestly didn't realise at the time that I could just go and buy something out of an op shop somewhere, or something second hand, and use that. But I haven't purchased moulds for years now. We either make them or go and find something in an op shop, repurpose things. Stainless steel is good, but yeah, you do have to watch stainless steel, because it can't be anything that'll grab the glass, because the steel cools quicker than the glass. So anything that's like bowl that's too sharp on the sides, it will hang on to the glass.
Rose says bribe them with the glass.
Bribe them with glass.
That's a good idea, Rose.
Yeah. They call it bartering.
Yeah.
Get them to do something for you and you do something for them. Made some clay molds, put it in to make little bug bodies.
Yep.
Bug bodies. Yeah, okay.
That sounds good.
Yeah, yeah.
Good idea, Jesse.
Yeah, have you tried the, I've got some moulding casting mix here, and I've got this idea for a box. Been meaning to get down here for a couple of weeks and mix it up. But the idea for a box is, and that's a square box, I want to use the casting mix and make a mould for creating a square box. And if I'm successful at it, I definitely will show it on the channel here. Okay. Etsy have them as well. Etsy have a lot of stuff that they never used to have.
I sure do.
We used to sell on Etsy.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, most of the purchases were from the States and throughout the world. And at one time, we could send things reasonably cheaply. Then COVID hit, and our local cost for sending overseas just went through the roof.
Yeah.
So we don't do it anymore. The cost is just, just ridiculous. You try and send one pendant or something like that to the United States, and it would cost, I think it was about $21 at the time. And I know, it's just, I know I wouldn't buy a pendant for $25 and then spend $21 getting it shipped to me. So we don't sell through Etsy anymore anyway, because we're not a business anymore. This is just a hobby.
Yep. We've retired.
Yeah. I'm busier than ever.
Yes.
Being retired. Got so many things that I do, unfortunately. And Anne does a lot of volunteer work at the moment, so she's off doing volunteer work 3 days a week. What have you two been working on?
Nothing.
Well, I've been a bit slack, unfortunately. I've had quite a few days where it's just been hard to get motivated to get going. As far as the glasswork is concerned, I've been doing a little bit of work, not a great deal. I've been doing other things. I've been involved with things that like the faceting. I do gemstone faceting. Been doing a bit of that. It's starting to get colder here, which means that coming down here, my studio, which you won't be familiar with, Jerry is, but nobody else will be, is under the house, concrete floor. So in the dead of winter, it gets pretty cold down here, and you're standing on cold concrete. So you need a lot of motivation to come down and to do something. Jill, love retirement. I'm not too sure about that for myself, because I worked for myself for many years. It was just Anne and I, and I think it was something like 25 years, something like that.
Yep. I
haven't worked for anybody else for 25 years. So the flexibility of working for yourself, and we work from home, it's a great way of living and being able to work, because you can work things out however you want. You can move your time around as long as you get the work done. Obviously, you can be very flexible about it. So going to retirement left me a little lost. It just, for a while there, I just sort of stopped and think, what am I doing? What's my purpose? We won't get into philosophy and all that sort of thing, but I found retirement a little bit of a hard transition, unfortunately. Ryan been taking faceting lessons. Yep.
Good idea.
Love faceting. The only thing about faceting is I find it a bit frustrating. I've got an older machine, so it's probably not as accurate as it could be. But you can work around it, just like glass fusing, you can work around it. And if you've just taken it, they probably haven't shown you so much about cheating. Oh no, they would have shown you about cheating. It's not a nice word, but cheating will get you through a lot. First thing about it is the cost of the rough material now is becoming so expensive. Jill's a retired oncology nurse.
Wow, what a position.
Mm.
You're wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful lady.
So what are you doing now, Jill? Blast fusing, of
Blast
course.
fusing.
What else? So what else have we been working on?
I haven't
Principal,
started yet,
yeah.
but I'm hoping to start to get into the enameling with the jewellery and doing it on silver.
Mm.
But I haven't started yet. So
And it's the same sort of stuff. I
Yep.
mean, it's a powder, but I think it's a bit more concentrated. But it's very similar. It's
Very
just ground
similar.
glass and mix a bit of water with it when you're doing the cloisonne. I don't know whether that's the right way of pronouncing it.
Yeah,
but
cloisonne.
that's what Diane would love to do is
Yeah.
cloisonne work.
Yeah.
So that's part of what we've been doing, Jerry.
Yes, it is expensive, Ryan, but unfortunately I think a lot of hobbies are expensive these
Yeah.
days. Even
Yeah.
doing knitting or crocheting, wool is very expensive. So,
Glass and grandchildren. 7.
wow, wonderful.
Are they living near you? All ours are miles away. I mean miles away. The closest is probably how far to Townsville? About nearly 1,000 k to Townsville.
16,000.
No,
1,600, sorry.
Yeah, I don't think it's that far. But anyway, it's
Yeah.
a long way. It's a long way. So it makes it very hard to all get together and do anything.
Oh.
And
Tammy. Hi, Tammy.
yes, hi Tammy. Enamelling is pretty, it's amazing
It
work
is.
enamelling, especially with the jewellery.
Yeah.
Watched a few videos of people doing that and I think, wish I could do that, especially the cloisonne work. But with the shake, I couldn't imagine putting those little wires in place. Anne would be better at it than me. Definitely, wouldn't you, love?
All are within 30 miles.
30
Oh, that's
miles.
wonderful. So
That'd
they're
be
so
great.
close at hand. That's
Yeah.
lovely, Jill.
Yeah. 30 miles. Well, mine are within, how far is it to Japan? Well, one is on the opposite side of Australia,
Western Australia.
in Western Australia. The other one is in Japan. And the other one is North Queensland, which, as I say, is about 1,000 miles away. Or kilometres away, I should say. And
There are only grandchildren is 1,000
yeah,
kilometres away.
yeah, they're up there. And we do have great-grandchild.
One great child is there
who
too.
is
He's 2.
1,200 kilometres away, the opposite direction, down south.
No, don't live-
Oh, no, that's right. They've moved to
moved.
Townsville as well.
They've moved. Yeah.
Have a look on the map. Townsville's north Queensland. That's really cyclone country. And we're south, where Brisbane is in Toowoomba.
Hi, Tammy. What do you do with the glass?
Yeah. Excuse me.
Maybe you should go quickly over the memory.
Yeah, Tammy, were you here when I talked about the using these enamels?
I don't think she knows.
Just very quickly, what I was talking about earlier on was using these enamels, that pre-mixed enamels that I buy, using visible decals. These are ones that you can print with the laser printer, and then using the enamels to colour those in, to overlay some enamel over the top of that, and done thin enough it gives you a watercolour sort of look, which can be really nice. And that one there, I put too much red on there, so it's not thin enough. I should have thinned it out a bit. So that's what we were discussing before. If you've got any questions, please ask them. I'm happy to help. And this was another piece that I showed, which was using enamels just to simply hand draw things on. Nice simple way to add decoration. And these do go a long way. You can use the powdered enamels and mix them up yourself and use them, but these are just very convenient to buy in this form, and I'm sure you'll be able to buy them over there as well. But a great way to add decoration, and easy to do. I don't think you have to be a real artist, obviously. If you a little bit more of an artist than I am, you probably get a better result than I will. But yeah, they're a great way of decorating things. Excuse me. They high-fire, not these ones. No, well, depends what you mean by high-fire. I'm going to lose my voice. These are really cured about the high 700s, 700C that is. And I know there are low-fire ones that go much lower. These will fire in the low 700s, but I think to get the best out of them, they've got to go a bit higher than that. I'm not sure what temperature the high-fire ones really are. I will answer the other question as well. So yeah, these I'd take to around 770, 780, something like that. Because I'm firing them after I've made the piece, I don't particularly want to take them up really high. And you know, if I was doing cabs or something like that, I would fire them lower than that, but not that low. I can't get down, you know, too close to the 700 mark because they really don't cure at that temperature. I think you can get ones that will go cure in the 600s actually, much like decals. Some of the decals, or most of the decals that we use, have to be fired high, but I know you can get decals that are fire much lower, and these fire low as well. So you don't have to take your piece up too high to fire these in. These will fire at about 700, a bit under 700 actually. I've taken one up to, but just a little bit higher than 700 is better, because otherwise you'll end up with a almost a texture that you can feel on it because it hasn't fired into the glass properly. Got on low tack for me. Sorry?
Sorry. I'm just saying that we might need to find out what the Fahrenheit is.
I can't convert to Fahrenheit in the head at least anyway.
No.
Go to a
there you
website
go.
and do it.
There you go. Ryan's done it. Thank you, Ryan.
712. Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah. That low tack for me. Yeah. If you're layering, it's good. Just fire it low and then put the new layer on and fire it again. So, Tammy, you're obviously using the enamels. What sort of things are you doing with them? Ryan, there you go. There's the formula if anybody wants it.
Very helpful, Ryan. That's great.
I still couldn't do that in my head. There's no way I could do that in my head. I was a programmer for years and I used to do maths. No worries at all. Not now. Just out of practice. So 1290 is, there's a big difference between the C and the centigrade and the Fahrenheit. Not really, we want to try, okay. Well, it's easy to do. And one of the things I was saying before is that when I hand drew these, they weren't as crisp as you can see there. The edges weren't as... I get left and right mixed up here when I'm doing this. What you can do is when you put them on and they dry, get yourself a nice little fine brush and a sharp knife, And you'll find you can just simply scrape the edges to get those sharp edges and sharp sides to your whatever it is you're drawing. And that's really great. Use your brush just to brush it off.
Tammy Silver.
Freeze and fuse, I
Yeah.
still haven't done that. Freeze and fuse and piping with glass. Piping with glass. Piping. What's piping? Just trying to think what piping is. Freeze and fuse, I haven't done. I should try it, but I haven't tried that yet. Something on the list. Casting. I haven't done casting as such, but I've used a mould to basically, it's like slumping, but you fuse the glass fully and it just sinks into the mould. Open mould, I think is what they call it, an open mould. So it's casting of a sort. So we've been going for over an hour. Does anybody want to keep going? Don't want to bore you to death, but if you've got any other questions at all. We got a delay, unfortunately, so even though I've asked for it, it'll come through a little bit later. Just trying to think if there's anything else I needed to say about this enamelling. This binder is the only other thing. The lavender oil is the only one I've found that seems to work okay. Some of the others seem to separate. I actually ruined some of this because it had dried out. I hadn't put the lid on it properly and it had dried out, and I tried another oil anyway and tried to mix it up, but it didn't mix up properly. It ruined it. I've tried to dry it out and do it again. It basically ruined the whole thing. I think it was wintergreen oil, something like that. Not too sure what it was, but anyway, that is the only one that I've found. Lavender oil is the only one I've found that'll work properly, and it burns off cleanly in the kiln as well.
Bye, Jerry.
It is early in the morning. We were both up at, well, just before 6 o'clock, which is early for us. Well, early for me, not so much early for Anne. She's always up early. And it's late for some of you over there. Very late. Lavender oil, good to know. Yeah, that works fine. You don't need much. Well, it depends upon the effect you want to do, I suppose. But yeah, that works fine for me. I know you can mix them with plain water too. I have seen people mix the powders with plain water. Whether that depends upon the brand or not, I don't know. That chap that I was talking about before, who does a lot of stained glass and painting on glass, pretty sure he just uses water to mix his enamels with. Okay, well, I hope that has been of some help to you. And if there are no further questions, I'll wait a minute because this thing waiting for you to catch up. With no further questions, I think we might call it a day. And hopefully we'll see you all in about a month's time in the next one. It doesn't look like we've got any more questions. I'll say bye. Anne's going to say bye.
Bye.
Great to have you with us.
Yes.
And I won't see you at the next one, but hope to hear from you at the next one.
Right.
Have a
Have a
great
good-
afternoon. Pleasure. Our pleasure. If you've got anything that you want us to cover in the next one, please just put it in a comment on this chat. This will go, will be on the channel, so you can watch it again, and just put a comment on there and just remind me of anything that you might want to talk about, and we'll make sure we include it in the next chat. That's a pleasure, Tammy. So you all take care. Hope it doesn't get too hot up there over the next month. It's going to get cold here. I can feel it already. So take care, and we'll see you all or hear from you all in about a month's time. Bye for now.
Bye.